Good afternoon, everybody. It is Heidi at Hen and Chick Studio, but I am not in Conrad, Iowa, where I normally am because it is still snowing outside, and we live about 12 miles from the store. So on a day like today, out in the country, visibility, I can barely see my neighbors on the other side of the field. So to me, that tells me that it's pretty windy out there. So best place to be is in my sewing room. But Diana is on. How is it over there in the coop, Diana? Are you sewing away? I love it. We have retreaters snowed in both retreat centers, and I hope they are having a blast. But jump on, people. This is our third and final video for today. I've been calling it the Snow Day Sew-In, and it has been fun to be able to share a few tips and tricks with you, a few comments, a few, things. I love it that you all like to jump on, and welcome back, Angelina and Kathy. I love having all of you guys here, and I hope you have been having fun as well. Now, and to our Iowa people as well, awesome. So as always, if this is the first time you're seeing one of our videos, whether it is live or replay, jump in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. There's nothing more that warms my heart than to think that we are spreading creativity coast to coast, and I love that, and I'm so glad that you are all with us. Okay, so a couple of things, right? So since this is our final video, in the first video, I gave some clues as to where you could find this. Okay, this is a banner. It's actually a little bit longer on the website, and it's in 4 places, and you take a screenshot of it or a picture, and you click on the banner itself, and a box will pop up where you upload, you put your name, your email, and you upload the picture. And when you hit submit, then the coupon code appears, a little gift for you today, and you're automatically entered. Don't have to purchase anything. You're automatically entered into a prize drawing tomorrow morning live at 9 a.m. And I will be at Hen and Chick Studio. By golly, I'm going to be there because I have a full day tomorrow. Again, you want to be looking for this Snow Day Sew-In logo in those 4 places on our website. Dozens of you are finding it, and I love it. Get it, upload it. Why I use that form, and if you could imagine this, is that social media is inconsistent. So I might miss somebody. I might not have a full name. You might use a different name. I don't have an email. I can't contact you. So we use this form because it's the simplest way for me to have all of your names all in one place. Super easy. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go in. I'm going to put your names in a hat, and we're going to have prizes. And Diana is giving me an update that Amanda is finishing her 2nd quilt top. All right. Well, that gives, and she is working on her present, so that is wonderful too. Oh, and Jane is still there and working hard. I love it. Okay, so for all of you who are busy sewing at home or in the coop and the nest, I want to see what you're doing. And the best place to do that is to post pictures of the projects that you're working on in our Facebook group. Okay, we call it the Creative Community. And so that is our Facebook group. And I'll put the link in here again when I get done. But if you are not a member of our creative community, we would love to have you join us. It's a great place to share what you're working on and get help on projects or advice or thoughts. I know somebody was asking about a t-shirt quilt the other day, and I loved all the advice that everybody was giving. So absolutely jump in there into the creative community, and I've let a few people, you have to answer some questions, and that's just to avoid all the bots, right, and all the junk stuff that comes. And so once you answer the questions and you're legit, I let you in, and then you can start posting and all of that very, very quickly. And you are able to invite people into the creative community. So by all means, you can take advantage, because I figure if you're already in there, then you know who to be inviting, right? Okay, so Scavenger Hunt, upload that until midnight tonight. Only have to upload it one time, and then you're automatically in the drawing. There's only one a gift, so that is until midnight tonight. Okay, so that, we invited you to the creative community. I want to see what you're working on. Okay, just a real, if this is the first time you're jumping on with us with a video, remember that first video today, I talked about fly away and the shoe fly block, making some triangle squares. In video number 2, I talked about a walking foot and our fast track runner. Now, both of those patterns and the 2 that we're going to just talk about right now, which are Kindred Stars and Pinwheel Play, all of these patterns were featured in yesterday's Chick Pick newsletter. And that is a free newsletter. You must sign up for it in order to receive it. And it's all free. It highlights all free patterns that you'll eventually find on our website. If you go to the link, henandchickstudio.com/chickpicks, you'll find all of the issues. You'll find a place to sign up. And remember, if you would like to receive text messages, you do have to opt in. And I do not send more than one a week. And so you can sign up on that same Chick Pick form. There's a little box. And if you say, well, I've already got Chick Picks, but I didn't know about the text messages, or, oh, whatever, you can go back in there anytime and basically fill it out again. It just updates your information. It doesn't duplicate anything. So you don't have to worry like you're not going to get Chick Picks 10 times in your email box or anything like that. But that is the place to go back to, and it's the easiest place, I should say, to go back to and make sure you get text messages and to get Chick Picks into your inbox. All right. So I thought I'd just talk for a few minutes about fabric and fabric selection. I think that it's probably one of my favorite things to do. I might like fabric, maybe a little. I am very, very lucky to have had a grandmother who also loved fabric and loved color, and I mean, just the ability to put together fabrics that just was wonderful. And I think about what she had to work with, 40 years ago. She didn't have the choices that we have today. And today we have so many choices that it's unbelievable, right? That we can really have just about anything that we're looking for, any style of fabric that we're looking for. It's just a matter of where you go to get it. And I think that's one of the things that I think is so fun about a shop hop, like we're participating in starting on Friday, the Cabin Fever shop hop, is that you're going to find 9 shops that have 9 different personalities, because each of the owners' personalities does come through in the selection of products that is in those stores. And I certainly have a very different look than the next store, and the next store has a very different look than the next store. I mean, it's, and that's what's fun about it, right? Is to be able to go, we love to go to quilt shops when we're traveling, because again, their personalities are different and fun. And, but I certainly know through all of the years that I have been in the quilting industry, whether as a magazine editor or, I worked at APQS in the long arm business, whatever, color is something that some people have confidence in and some people don't. And I think I try to do as much as I possibly can to booster those who don't, because you have it in you. You have that kindergartner mentality where you know what crayon to use, and it's okay if the trunk of your tree is a different color than brown, right? Because sometimes it just looks better to be a different color. And you really have to, I'll say, use your gut sometimes. And it is fun to be able to play with color. And, I'm going to say, I don't always pick exactly the right combination. Every once in a while, we get a store sample hung up, and I'm like, that's interesting. Who designed that? Or, pick those fabrics. Sometimes things look different in your head than they do on paper. Sometimes a fabric reacts differently than you think it would. You know, it's one of those things when you have pieces that we cut up and versus pieces that we leave big. And I think the important thing is that that you use it as an experiment and know that it's a learning process, right? And that maybe this quilt didn't end up to be your absolute favorite, but that's okay because you learned something about yourself. Earlier today, I was talking about 2-color quilts and that high contrast. And again, I find more and more that the quilts I see as the most successful are high contrast. It's harder for me to do a quilt that is more mushy, more mellow, right? And so again, it's just something that happens. But that's also one reason why quilt kits do so well, right? Is we look at something up on the wall and we go, wow, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Here's the kit. Here are the fabrics to make it work. Or maybe you go, you know what? I really like what I'm looking at, but I would change that one thing. Well, then buy the kit as the starter place and change out that one fabric that you don't like or a different look that you want. Or maybe you like more of something. There's often kits that we give. In fact, the Feathered Friends people, those of you who just received all of your Feathered Friends, there is more fabric in there than you need in the squares, because I like you to have choices. And sometimes a fabric resonates with somebody differently than another one does. And I know that even though there are, oodles of those kits now out, they're all going to look different because each of you has a different personality of how you're going to put it together and which ones you're going to discard, which fabrics you're going to discard, and which ones you're going to leave in. So I find that exciting about what we do as quilters, and it's just a great opportunity to try again, make something different on the next quilt. I don't think of it as a bad thing. I just think of it as it's just a stepping stone along the way of getting those masterpieces that we do love. Okay. And as we talk about quilts, okay, so I was talking about 2-color quilts. This is Kindred Stars, and the designer is Megan Pitts, and who knows, maybe Megan is watching. She's in Iowa. She might be very well snowed in like the rest of us, and she might be watching as well. So Megan, it's still a great pattern that you created. It's so traditional, but I don't know about you guys, but my eyes, several things happen when I look at this quilt and I think, boy, when fabric gets in the places, what is it that's going to jump out and why, right? Because again, at the simplest, it's a 2-color quilt. It's a white star and that dark, but do you see then how those dark squares start to create another a square on point that kind of overlaps. I don't know if I can, but you can start to see that there is a square that looks like it's on point at times. There's also, to me, and you guys jump in and tell me what you see when you look at this diagram, I also see a potential weave, that there's something about the diagonal rows that form what I would look at as a weaving opportunity. And I don't know how that would exactly play out in fabric, but this is where I love to make copies of this, enlarge it a little bit, and start to play with some colored pencils and say, all right, if I make this darker, what happens? If I make this a certain color, like if I were to somehow really, really, really use my design wall and, start to get crazy, right? What patterns could form in this simple block? One of the things when I look at it, and I'll show you, is I love the Rambling Rose collection that we have currently from Renee Nanneman. And I happen to have some of those fabrics at home. And so there's this beautiful paisley. So I would absolutely put this paisley in the dark position of the block. So the block, let's get down here. The block itself is this star right there. There's the block, right? So in that dark position, I would put potentially that dark paisley. But then could you imagine in the white position if I used the colors from that collection? And I'm going to just throw them up here on my shoulder like this one. It's going to read as a solid, right? A lot of these are going to read as solids. So would these come across as different stars? Do I pick a lot of them, a few of them, all of them? I love this print because, of course, it comes very much as a solid, the tonals. But this is going to be pretty simple. Okay. I'm showing you just, these are pieces from Rambling Rose. And you could even then go to a light because that dark is going to be surrounding it. So you could use some of these dark pieces, maybe even the florals that would go with that. Okay. So that then with this. And then I start to think, oh, does it get too blue? Like the line, this is going to read with more color, not as gray. So I don't have the perfect, like there is a dark gray that goes in this collection, kind of like those other tonals. And I don't happen to have it at home, and I wasn't able to run to the store and get it. So I found the closest thing I could have, right? So I found this in my stash that is a dark gray. So it's not black, but it's a dark gray. So now all of a sudden, those colors are going to really pop off. That. So if you want to say I use the paisley to pull all my colors, and maybe I save the paisley for that inner border, or outer border in this particular case, for that border, I could use the paisley to pull it all together in that spot. So I love thinking that way with that particular pattern. I think that could be very, very pretty. And, but again, it could be as simple as, you know, again, two colors. Maybe you just like this floral and this green. And it could be that simple that this is your dark, this is your light, go for it, right? And it's going to have a very different look than if it were, I'll just pick these two pieces. Here you'd have a very different quilt, right? You'd have, you know, that would look totally different than putting like the floral in there and stuff. So I think there's so much opportunity, and I can't wait to see how all of you are going to use Kindred stars, because I do believe it is a classic pattern that could be done in so many combinations, and I look forward to seeing how you're going to do it. The other one that I just want to briefly talk about is Pinwheel Play. And again, to me, this is potentially in need of a high contrast, meaning that those pinwheels, in order for them to stand out, they are going to have to be a little bit more contrast. So I was digging in the stash. I don't have any stash. No stash here. No stash. That I was digging in, and I found these Christmas. Oh, my sweatshirt is working very well as a design wall. Okay. So I found these three, you know, kind of busier Christmas fabrics that the way the pattern looks, it's like a light, medium, and a dark. So you could do, and I'll show you something else I was thinking of, but I then found this that is the green that is in there. And to me, this is the pinwheel. This is going to stick out. You're going to have something very solid in order to stick out from these busy prints. So there's that. But like, I'm going to go back to, hold on a second. I think I can. Did I pull out? Hold on. I don't think I pulled one of the greens. One moment while I pull out from my stash. Okay, so here's all from Rambling Rose, right? Kind of 3 colors of green that are in that collection. So they're all meant to go together. And actually, I feel like my sweatshirt is a good pinwheel color. So let me grab the gold. Hang on. And imagine if my pinwheels, that might have the look of a John Deere quilt. If anybody knows what green and yellow are, right? Or wait a minute, is that green Packers maybe? A green Packer quilt, something like that. But imagine that if you're light, medium, and dark kind of thing, and then that contrast, that you could have a very different quilt. Again, colored pencils work really well. There's, nothing. Some of you have design programs online. That's great. Use them. But I think that it's great for using up both of these patterns are great for using up scraps. And boy, doesn't it feel good to use some of that stash that we might have in our homes. And so I definitely wanted to just take a few minutes. And if you guys ever need help, I think one of the best things I always suggest is that you audition. And you would not believe the number of times we pull bolts off the shelf and put it next to a quilt and we go, oh, not the right one. You know what? But then I can find 3 or 4 that all have slight differences, but do something good for the quilt that we're working on. That is the best way. And then the next thing would be is when you find that combination you like, take a picture of it, because it's like automatically stepping back a distance and gives you an opportunity to say, oh, I like how that stands out. And maybe afterwards here, I'll take a picture and include it in the comments and stuff too, because it is the kind of thing that does help when you are, it's like a tool, right? And you can, and also helps with placement if later you are like, where did I place things? Meaning like if you take them to the sewing machine and then you go to put it back down and you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Take a picture before you go to the sewing machine of your layout so that when you, if something does get mixed up, you know what to do. All right. Well, I have had a lot of fun today and am super excited again to see what all of you have been working on as you go over to the creative community and put pictures up of what projects you're working on. We would love to see all of those. Now, join me tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and I will be drawing for 5 $20 gift cards for Hen and Chick Studio. And don't forget, I did give you an extra coupon code during the second video. And so that's the only place I'm giving that coupon code out. So if you want to go back and get an extra deal, some of you have taken great advantage of that, and I love it. You're getting good backing fabrics and all that kind of stuff. So awesome. All right. Well, until the next time we see you, I hope you have a chance to be creative. Thank you for doing Snow Day Sew In with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9. Bye, everybody.